hit until he never stood up again. On October 6, 1923, Iowa State College travels to Minneapolis to face the University of Minnesota. Among the players is Jack Trice, a 21-year-old lineman. College football in this era is raw and unforgiving. Protective equipment is basic, and injuries are accepted as part of the game. Jack Trice understands that this game will not be neutral. As one of the very few black players in college football, he expects hostility. The night before the game, he writes a private note to himself. In it, he speaks about discipline, self-control, and the responsibility of representing his family and his school. From the opening kickoff, the game is unusually violent. Trice is tackled repeatedly, often low and late. Teammates later recall whistles blowing while bodies continue driving him into the ground. Officials intervene rarely. As the game progresses, Trice absorbs more punishment than most players on the field. His movements slow. He begins holding his side between plays but refuses to leave the game. Late in the match, he is tackled hard and lands awkwardly, his torso twisting violently. He stays down longer than usual. When he stands, his breathing is shallow. He leaves the field without assistance. That night, severe abdominal pain sets in. Doctors fail to recognize the internal injuries. There are no scans. Over the next 2 days, internal bleeding continues unchecked. On October 8, 1923, Jack Trice dies. He becomes the first known football player to die directly from injuries sustained during a game. A Friday night that never ended. On September 20th, 2013, a high school football game takes place in Georgia. The stadium is small and familiar. Metal bleachers line the field. Parents, classmates, and local residents fill the stands. The atmosphere is calm, routine, and safe. Friday night football is part of everyday life here. Brandon Smith is 17 years old. He has played football for years. He trains regularly, knows the rules, and understands the physical nature of the sport. This game feels no different from dozens he has played before. There is no sense of danger, no unusual tension. The game progresses normally into the second half. Players collide, get up, and return to the huddle. During one play, Smith makes contact with another player. The hit looks routine. No flag is thrown. The crowd barely reacts. Smith stands up immediately. He takes a few steps toward the sideline. Then his body suddenly gives out. He collapses forward onto the turf. For a moment, there is confusion. Then the field falls silent. Coaches rush toward him. Teammates step back, watching in shock. Smith does not respond. His helmet is removed. CPR begins on the field as emergency services are called. He is transported to the hospital where doctors discover severe internal injuries and head trauma. Despite emergency treatment, his condition worsens rapidly. Later that night, Brandon Smith dies. The stadium empties quietly. The lights turn off. A routine football game becomes the last night of a 17-year-old's life. When brutality was normal. On January 26, 1986, Super Bowl 20 is played at the Louisiana Superdome in New Orleans. The Chicago Bears face the New England Patriots. The stadium is enclosed, loud, and packed. Millions more watch on television. This is American football at its peak. The mid-1980s are defined by physical dominance. Defensive players are celebrated for punishing hits. Helmet-to-helmet contact is legal. Pain is treated as proof of toughness. Medical knowledge about brain injuries exists, but it is rarely applied on the field. From the opening kickoff, the game is violent. Collisions echo through the dome. Players are driven into the turf with full force. Several athletes stay down after tackles, rising slowly, blinking, shaking their heads before lining up again. On the sidelines, medical staff watch closely, but only visible injuries matter. Broken bones, blood, anything else is ignored. There are no concussion protocols, no neurological evaluations. Players return to the field as long as they can stand and respond. As the game progresses, the physical toll becomes visible. Movements slow, tackles become heavier, fatigue sets in, increasing the risk with every collision. No single moment looks fatal. No player collapses permanently. The game ends, a champion is crowned, and celebrations begin. But for many players of this era, the consequences surface years later. Memory loss, depression, early cognitive decline. Some die prematurely from complications linked to repeated head trauma. Super Bowl 20 does not kill anyone that night. It shows how football was allowed to quietly destroy bodies without immediate consequence. Death on the sideline. On October 24, 1971, the Detroit Lions play the Chicago Bears at Tiger Stadium in Detroit. The weather is mild, the stands are full. It is a regular season NFL game, nothing unusual on the schedule. Chuck Hughes is 28 years old. He is an experienced wide receiver, physically fit, and considered healthy. He has no known serious medical issues. To teammates and coaches, this is just another game. The match unfolds normally. Hughes participates in several plays, taking standard contact for his position. There are no violent collisions involving him, no obvious signs of injury. Late in the fourth quarter, After a routine play, Hughes jogs off the field toward the sideline. As he reaches the bench area, he suddenly collapses. At first, players nearby appear confused, then panic sets in. Hughes lies motionless. Coaches wave frantically for medical assistance. Team doctors and trainers rush to his side and begin CPR immediately, directly on the sideline, in full view of players, fans, and television cameras. The stadium grows quiet. The game stops. Players kneel or stand frozen, watching as medical personnel fight to keep him alive. Hughes is transported to the hospital, but doctors are unable to save him. He is pronounced dead shortly afterward. The cause is later identified as an undiagnosed heart condition. Chuck Hughes becomes the only player in NFL history to die during an active game, turning an ordinary Sunday afternoon into a moment that permanently changes the league's understanding of on-field risk. Death. Outside the stadium. On January 15, 1967, Super Bowl I is held at the Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum. The Green Bay Packers face the Kansas City Chiefs. The term Super Bowl is still new, and the event is treated more like a major football game than a national spectacle. The stadium infrastructure reflects that mindset. Security planning is basic. Temporary fences surround the entrances. Ticket checks are inconsistent. There are no modern crowd control systems, no controlled entry corridors, and no clear separation between ticket holders and people without tickets. Hours before kickoff, thousands of fans gather outside the gates. Some hold valid tickets. Others arrive without tickets, assuming they will find a way inside once the game begins. As the afternoon progresses, the crowd thickens. Movement becomes slow and tense. As kickoff approaches, pressure builds at the entrances. People push forward from behind, unaware of what is happening at the front. Barriers bend. Individuals stumble and fall. The crowd compresses so tightly that many cannot move their arms or breathe freely. Near one of the gates, a man collapses onto the concrete. People are unable to stop. Some step over him. Others are pushed forward by the weight of the crowd. Paramedics struggle to reach him through the mass of bodies. He suffers a fatal medical emergency, likely triggered by extreme stress and crowd pressure. Inside the stadium, the game begins on time. Cheers erupt from the stands. Outside, the first Super Bowl quietly claims a life that almost no one inside ever learns about. The touchdown that became a death. On September 29, 2001, Florida State University faces the University of North Carolina in a regular season college football game. The stadium is loud and energized. The atmosphere is confident. Florida State is expected to dominate. Devon Darling is 21 years old. He is a starting linebacker, physically strong, well-conditioned, and considered healthy. He has passed routine medical checks and shows no outward signs of illness. To coaches and teammates, Darling is just another young athlete in peak form. Early in the game, Darling reads the quarterback's eyes and steps in front of a pass. He intercepts the ball cleanly and sprints toward the end zone. The crowd erupts as he crosses the goal line. Teammates surround him in celebration. It is a perfect moment. After the play, Darling jogs calmly to the sideline. He does not appear exhausted. He removes his helmet and stands near the bench, watching the game continue. Seconds later, his body suddenly gives out. Darling collapses to the ground without warning. Coaches and medical staff rush toward him immediately. CPR begins on the sideline as teammates look on in shock. The stadium falls quiet as emergency responders work frantically. Despite rapid medical intervention, Darling never regains consciousness. He is transported to the hospital and later pronounced dead. The cause is an undetected heart condition. The scoreboard still shows the touchdown he scored minutes earlier. A moment of celebration becomes a permanent silence. Ice and broken bodies. On February 6, 2011, Super Bowl 45 is held at Cowboys Stadium in Arlington, Texas. Tens of thousands of fans travel to the area from across the country. Hotels are full. Parking lots and walkways around the stadium are crowded from early morning. In the hours before kickoff, a rare winter storm moves through the region. Freezing rain coats roads, sidewalks, and stadium infrastructure with a thick layer of ice. Temperatures drop rapidly. Despite the conditions, the event continues as planned. Around the stadium, staircases, ramps, and pedestrian bridges become dangerously slippery. Many fans wear ordinary shoes, completely unprepared for the surface beneath their feet. Stadium staff attempt to spread sand and salt, but the effort is insufficient for the scale of the crowd. As more people arrive, the number of accidents increases. Fans slip on stairs and lose their balance. Some fall forward, others tumble down concrete steps. Screams and shouts echo through the entry areas as people struggle to stand. Emergency responders are quickly overwhelmed. Ambulances have difficulty reaching injured fans due to icy roads and heavy traffic. Several people are treated on the ground before transport is even possible. Multiple fans are hospitalized with broken bones, head injuries, and spinal trauma. Some require surgery. Inside the stadium, the game proceeds uninterrupted, watched by millions on television. Outside, the Super Bowl becomes a mass injury event caused not by violence but by ice, poor preparation, and the unstoppable momentum of the crowd. Training that turned fatal. On July 31, 2001, the Minnesota Vikings hold a full-pad training camp practice in Mankato, Minnesota. The day is brutally hot and humid. Temperatures climb well above 40 degrees Celsius. Heat warnings are issued, but practice goes on as scheduled. Corey Stringer is 27 years old. He is a veteran offensive lineman, one of the largest players on the roster and a respected presence in the locker room. At more than 160 kilograms, his position requires constant physical strain. Full protective gear traps heat inside his body. As practice continues, Stringer begins to struggle. Teammates later recall that he looks exhausted, his movements slow. He breathes heavily between drills. Water breaks are limited, and the intensity of the session remains high. During one drill, Stringer suddenly collapses on the field. He is disoriented and barely responsive. Trainers rush to him and immediately recognize the signs of severe heat illness. His body temperature is dangerously elevated. He is transported to the hospital where doctors attempt aggressive cooling measures. His organs begin to fail. Despite intensive treatment, Stringer's condition worsens overnight. On August 1, 2001, Corey Stringer dies from heat stroke and multiple organ failure. His death shocks the league. It leads to major changes in NFL heat safety protocols, including modified practice schedules, mandatory water breaks, and improved medical monitoring. Those changes save lives later. For Corey Stringer, they come too late.